Now, I don't care what you thought your plans were for today, because you are gonna be learning how to rotoscope things inside of the free version of Davinci Resolve. Let's take a step back here. What is rotoscoping? Well, it's the process of cutting things out in your video. That's it. I'm gonna show you 3 different ways with a 4th one that's not really rotoscoping, but it kind of is. So strap in, buckle up, plug in a catheter, because get ready, the video is going to begin. Alrighty then, so here we are in Davinci Resolve. We're in the edit tab, and this first version is going to be done in the color tab. But before we do that, we need to duplicate our video. So we're going to hold left click, drag it up into video track number 2. So now we have 2 videos. Let's head on over to that color tab. First things first, we don't need this. We can get rid of that, and we probably don't need that either. So we can get rid of clips. So now you can see we have 2 video tracks here, and we're going to have that video track number 2 selected. We're going to turn off effects, and what we're going to do is right click this grid and choose add alpha output. You'll have this blue dot. So what do you think we're going to do? Are we going to A, take the green and connect it to the blue, or are we going to take the blue and connect it to the blue? If you chose green to blue, just turn the video off. You gotta see a doctor or something. Blue to blue. Now what does this do? I don't know, just watch the video. Go to this window right here. You see this with the little circle? This is your power windows. This is where you can create a mask. Now the mask is going to be the shape of the object that we are cutting out. So there's a few different options we have here, but because this is going to be a intricate, shape, we're gonna choose the curves. I call it pen or curves. I don't know which one it's really called, but we're choosing this one. And now if you use your mouse wheel, you can scroll in, middle mouse button to move it around. You can just start clicking and making your mask. Now, it's also kind of important that you use as little dots as possible. It's not necessary. It does make things easier, because if you have to animate this mask later on, you don't have a million dots to move. So if you want to make a curve, all you have to do is click and drag. So once you have your mask created, we have to track it in. So if we go over to the window next to this window, it's our tracker window. All you have to do is track forward. There you go. It's that simple. Hold up 1 second though. You can see in our thumbnail here, the shape that we have cut out. We have 2 little diamonds right here. These are keyframes. And then what you'll also notice is that our mask kind of comes down here. It's not staying on his head. And that's because we need to animate this mask to change shape with how the chamber's face is also changing shape. So in order to do that, what we need to do is change our settings from clip to frame. And now what we can do is we have this keyframe right here for our mask. We go to the end of our video, and if we just bring this up and this up, we go back. Oh, look at that. Our mask is all animated in. Because we have 2 keyframes, Davinci Resolve will do its thing. I forget the big word, smart brained for it, but it will animate the rest of it for you to match this one. Now you might be saying to yourself, well, that's cool, but what have we actually done? I mean, it doesn't look like we've done anything. And that's because we don't have any sort of effect behind Chamber's face, behind this mask. So if we select video track number 1, now what we could do is open up our effects tab, and just for simplicity, we could take this box blur, drop it in. Oh, look at that. Now we have this cool looking lens blur effect. Now you'll notice a little bit of a fuckery, if you will, is happening right around here. And that could be in part because our mask isn't animated properly. You can see it's kind of gone off his face right there. So what we could do is bring this over a little bit. But another thing that we can do is soften up this edge. So I'm going to hide our outline right here by clicking this button here. In our mask window, you'll see softness.
So we could bring up our soft edge right here and oh, look at that. But what I like to do is I will bring up the inside and then outside. And this kind of doesn't look too much different from our soft edge, but oh, look at that. You can really fine tune this soft edge by adjusting your inside and your outside values. Of course, you can still bring up your softness, but part of the reason why you would do this in the color tab is for this super refined soft edge feature. So if you like working in layers, this is a good way to go about masking. However, you could do everything inside of Fusion. So let's jump right on over to Fusion. What I like to do is start with my tracking first and then move into my masking. Because sometimes if you create your mask and then you get your track, it can actually mess up the shape of your mask. It won't fit properly, so you'll have to adjust it. I just don't like dealing with that. So shift space, bring up the select tool page and type in planar tracker. Now, all you have to do is just loosely outline the area you want tracked. So something like this. And I want you to kind of imagine what your mask would look like. And now what we're doing is coloring inside the lines. Once you have that done, go over to your inspector. If you're not starting on frame 0, hit set so it knows which frame to start tracking from, and then change your tracker from point to hybrid point/area. All you have to do now is track forwards. Now, at the bottom of your inspector, you'll see this button, Create Planar Transform. What does that do? Hit it. Oh, it creates a new node. It's called Planar Transform. What is that? It's all of your tracking data. Stop questioning me. You're watching the fucking tutorial. Anyways, let's just go ahead and delete this planar tracker because we don't need it anymore. We got all the tracking data right here. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to add some blur to the background. So let's drop in a blur node. And there's not really a whole lot of blur going on, so let's just bump that up. There we go. With nodes, you'll see that we have a few different colored arrows. We have a blue one, we got a gold one, and we also have a green one. So what do all these do? Well, the blue one is for masking. You can see effect mask. The green one is your foreground element. You can see foreground. And the gold one is your background. You can see background. Anytime you don't know what something does, just hover over it and Davinci Resolve will tell you. So what we need to do is create a mask for this blur effect. So let's take the output of our planar transform and connect that to the blue arrow here. Now what we need to do is actually get a masking tool. So right here, we have a bunch of shapes and we're gonna select that polygon, drop it right above your planar transform and connect it to the gold arrow. Now, this is going to happen. It's because we don't have a shape right now, but also we don't wanna be masking this blurred area, right? So if you select your blur, you can turn off the effect by going into your inspector and checking this button. Now go back into your polygon node. You can use your plus and minus key if you select your video to zoom in or zoom out. And same thing, middle mouse button to move around. And let's just start masking. And it's the same principle as before. You want to try and use as little points as possible. So whenever you can, try to use the curving feature. I think this goes without saying. Really take your time when masking because the better the mask, the better the effect, but not always, and you'll learn why in a little bit. So now that we have our mask complete, all we have to do is turn this blur node back on and we should have blur, but it's backwards. We want the blur in the background and not on chamber. We can fix this and it's really easy to do. There's a few different ways we can go about it. The first one is very simple. Go into your mask, your polygon, and then hit invert. There you go. The other way though is to go into that effect node, go to settings, and then check apply mask inverted. Why would you want to do this opposed to using the polygon invert? If you have a very complex mask where you need to stack multiple polygon nodes, it won't work. So you can see we have some blur over here, right? And if we invert this one, we still have blur over here. So let's invert that. But now we have blur over here and we still have blur here. It gets real messed up. So that is why I like to try to always invert mask within the effect node. Now, more than likely, we are going to have the same problems that we had in the color tab. Our mask is gonna need to be animated in order to fit Chamber's face. So if we go back, oh, look at this. It starts coming up at the bottom because we actually created the mask at the end of the video. So what this means is that, let's turn off our blur. We have to animate our mask a little bit. And it's the same thing as before, just go to where that you want. It's best to start at the beginning and the end of your videos, but just adjust your mask. It's that simple. I mean, like it's not rocket science. You move some stuff, and then Davinci Resolve's like, hey, they're moving stuff, so I should probably do something about that. And you're like, yeah, dude, f***ing do your job. And it's like, okay, I will. And then all the stuff in between, it animates. You might be asking yourself, this is cool and all, but can we have that soft edge as well? Yes, you can. Let's get rid of this outline real quick. All you have to do is uncheck show view controls. And then in your inspector, oh my God, a soft edge, what does that do? Oh, you're telling me it softens the edge? What? That's crazy. One thing I do like about the polygon node though, is that you have a border width. And this is a really quick way to adjust the size of your mask. So let's just bring this up. Oh, look at that. It's making it bigger or smaller. So there you go. We have two different ways to mask things inside of Davinci Resolve. But what if we had something a little bit more complex where there's a lot of moving parts? Let's say you wanted to mask Neon here. At first glance, this doesn't seem too bad. She's just moving left to right, but the perspective of her does. So you can see her leg is really extended out here. But at the beginning of the video, it's real crunched in. So we would have to animate the mask to stretch with her leg. On top of that, she gets bigger. I mean, like, look at the size of her head compared to here. My mouse can almost cover up her face. And then over here, it can't at all. So our mask would need to get bigger with her. Hypothetically, you could use the two methods that I just showed you, or we could do a little bit of cheating with AI technology. Now, if you have the studio version of Davinci Resolve, there is actually a built-in feature to do this. However, I don't have it, and you probably don't either. And this is a tutorial for the free version, so it only makes sense to show you a free way to do it. So what we need to do is go to a website called Runway ML. Once you're here, what you want to do is create new project and then select green screen. Drop in your video, and then all you have to do is just make a couple little dots here, and Runway's gonna do its thing and rotoscope for you. Maybe a couple more dots. Once you're done masking, hit done masking. Seems pretty obvious. And then you can get a preview of what your video is going to look like. It's a bit laggy, okay? So sometimes your mask will come off and it looks like it's off of the body. Just trust me, it's a glitch. It's a lag. It's lag. When you're done, hit export. But here's the thing, Runway, you can export in 720p for free. But if you want a 1080p version, which is more than likely what you uploaded it as, you have to upgrade to their premium version. Don't do this, okay? It's silly. Don't bother. I'm gonna show you how to get a 1080p version inside of Davinci Resolve. So export that video and bring it into Davinci. So we got both clips right here. And I want you to notice the quality difference, because you might be saying, well, 720 is not that bad. It could work. No, it won't. Look at this. That is night and day. I don't even know who this person is. So what I want you to do is duplicate your original video. This one right here, okay? Bring that into video track number 2. However, we are going to slide that on top of the green screen video. This might not make sense right now, but trust me. Highlight both of them, right click, new fusion clip. Uh-oh, what happened? Where did it go?
We'll go into fusion to find out.
There it is. Now, here's the thing. I don't like the way that Davinci Resolve automatically sets this up. This is backwards to me. Like, why would you put your background element, remember, gold arrow, on top of your foreground element, green arrow? So I like to switch these around. Boom, boom. Put a little space right here. Okay. Now, if we turn off our merge node, you can see behind it is our green screen video. Yay. Alrighty then. So what we need to do is key out all of this green. So select your media in 1 because this is our background element, and hit shift space to bring up the select tool page and type in delta keyer. All you have to do now is take this eyedropper tool and drop it on top of the green. But if we turn our merge back on, nothing happened. Well, that is because we need to cut out neon. And so what we're doing is using this green screen video as a matte. Now this is a old school way of rotoscoping things. It essentially creates a black and white image. So all the black gets cut out and we're left with whatever this white image is. You see that? 720p. Disgusting. Take the output of your delta keyer. Connect that to the blue arrow. All right. Now let's turn this merge back on. You see that? That is night and day. Even the colors look different. Oh my God, that is beautiful. So now we have this checkered background telling us that it's an alpha output, that the background's not there. It's transparent. And if we play the video, yay, we got it. This looks so mediocre, but because this is going to be moving fast, it's okay. We don't need the most perfect rotoscope. We just need like a pretty good rotoscope. But you may be asking yourself, well, why did we duplicate the video then, right? Why couldn't we just, not do that? Well, this will run a lot smoother. We are just optimizing everything. So the next thing we need to do is render this fusion clip out in an alpha put channel. Whatever, you get what I'm trying to say. Right click that video, render in place, format QuickTime, but change your codec from DNxHD to DNxHR, and then just render it out. Now we can stack it on top of our original video, and just for, simplicity, quickness, whatever, take a little blur effect, pop that in right there. Yeah, baby, that's looking good. Now, one of the things that I said earlier is that a good rotoscope has a good mask, but sometimes it doesn't. And that's because you can do some fuckery, for lack of a better term, and that'll make the mask look a little bit better, right? So like we have adding all these effects, you really can't tell too much. I mean, a little bit right here, but like who's gonna really know except for us? So, like we have a little bit of camera shake with some motion blur, but we could really crank this bad boy up by getting even more motion blur on there by adding some motion blur. So vector motion blur, you just pop that bad boy in. And forgot we gotta also add in a little bit of optical flow. There we go. Optical flow with vector motion blur. And look at how like smeared this looks. It's a real cheeky way of hiding fuck-ups in your mask. So there you go. That is the 3 different ways you can rotoscope things inside of Davinci Resolve. Sort of. I mean, that third one kind of wasn't rotoscoping inside of it, but like we used a matte. It's whatever. Don't question it. But what if you wanted to have like a super good looking mask, but it's super intricate like this, and you didn't want to spend all that time cleaning up your edges? Well, my friend, there is a super awesome secret way you can do that. And it's called green screening. Alrighty, so what you want to do is queue into a custom game, but before you do that, make sure you turn cheats on and, you turn off your UI. You don't want that impeding your vision. So hide user interface in game. I also forgot you got to turn off that crosshair. So go to crosshair, disable crosshair. Alrighty. So now what you want to do is fly up and find this wall right here. This is going to act as your green screen. So if you get up nice and close to it, you know, you can pull out whatever, do whatever, and then you can key out all this green. So once you got your footage, right, let's jump right on into Fusion. If you remember, we're gonna type in Delta keyer here, and this is how we're gonna remove that background. Now, at first glance, this looks pretty good, but if you have a keen eye, you'll notice there's a little bit of weirdness going on, like a haze, if you will. We also have a bit of like an outline around here. Let's zoom in there. Yeah, we got like a little bit of an outline. You can even see that Yoru's thumb is a little transparent there. So let's clean all this up. And the way that we're gonna do that is by going into our view mode. We're gonna change it from final result to matte. Remember how I was talking about the black and white images? Well, in matte, what we're going to do is select the matte setting and then adjust our threshold. Now the low threshold is all the dark points and the high threshold is all the light points. So just bring up that low threshold until you get rid of that haze and you have one nice solid color. And the same thing with your high threshold, just bring that down until you have one nice solid color. Now go back to final result and you can see this is all cleaned up pretty nicely, but we still have a little bit of an outline here. Also take note, we don't have that transparency anymore, so that's a win. Anyways, we gotta get rid of this outline, and that's really easy to do. Go over to your road setting and just start bringing that down just slightly, just a little bit at a time. There you go. Now it's gone. Amazing. Now, the other thing is that, I forgot to turn off this setting, but that's not really a big deal because what we can do is grab a polygon tool. And you might be tempted to select mask. Don't do that. That's just going to be where you apply the green screen. So just watch this. Watch what I'm talking about. Like we don't want this area. Oh man, that's not what we want. So what we are going to do is this white arrow, your garbage matte, not solid matte, garbage matte, bottom right hand corner. Select that, connect it, bam, it's gone. Look at that, it's gone. I'm gonna do that one more time. Here it is. There it's not. And so now if we watch this back, we have a perfectly rotoscoped, really chroma keyed, but it's whatever. We have this perfect image and we could apply this to anything. Like, look at this. This is like a TikTok transitions. You know what I mean? Like that's just how you do it, man. Anyways, that's the video. Leave a like if it helped. Make sure you subscribe for more tutorials. Leave a comment about what you want to see. And I'll catch you in the next one. Goodbye.